Hey y'all, Porty1119 with Head Frame Hunters here. As you can probably see, I've been doing extensive work on the Young Buggy. Got a few things done. So first and foremost, got the parking brake working. The linkage was broken, so I had to build a new link pin. Without that pin, the handle would tip off to the side rather than properly providing enough camming force. Also had to adjust the tension on it, so it probably takes 50 pounds of force to apply it. However, I tested it, and in conjunction with the lever lock parking brake, the transmission handbrake will hold the machine at full throttle in second gear on a 20% grade. That was unloaded. I do need to test it loaded, but very good initial indications there. Second of all, I got probably 80% of the electrical gremlins sorted out. Whoever wired this did some strange things that I don't really understand. I will just try and demonstrate this. So here's our key switch. Joke, these things are keyed in USB like a flash drive. You have to turn the key a few times. So see, when I apply power, I get my battery voltage meter starts reading. Now I come back to there, that amber indicator light comes on, but I lose my battery reading. Now what had been happening is that I could only get the headlights and backup alarm to work in that accessory position with the amber light on, so I could not have oil pressure or battery voltage data. Neither of those gauges would work if I wanted to use the headlight and backup alarm, which is a pretty major problem. So that has been fixed. I've rewired those so that whenever the key switch is in the on position here, I've got, I used the wrong key. Bear with me here. So I have headlight power, which it's a decent little LED. It's going to be better than the incandescent that was on there. I have battery voltage, oil pressure. Obviously it's not reading any because the engine is off. And finally, I rewired the hourmeter so that it works. I don't know what the true hours on this machine are. I got it at 222.3. My best guess, based on its sister machine had maybe 400 hours and change, and I believe that's hours after a rebuild in 2007. It's just a best guess, but I did all the fluids and filters on the machine when I took delivery of it anyway, so I don't need to worry about that. Last but not least, the backup alarm works. So the backup alarm is definitely aftermarket. It's activated by this reed switch here. So particularly the way that works is that the control linkage into the reverser, which again is your directional control, it's a single direction transmission. When you apply full reverse pedal, you get a backup alarm to come on. That's probably something you're noticing it's missing. That's the horn. This is the horn. I tried running it in place. I disconnected it. Tried running test leads to it, applying power, and had it grounded out. That did not work. I think that horn is no good, so I'll have to source a replacement. But other than that, this truck is basically ready to go mine. Something strange that I will probably address is the taillights are hooked up to the backup alarm, so you only get taillights when you're in reverse. I don't like that. I plan to probably mount an LED light, soft mount with zip ties and U-bolts to the ROPS. You really don't want to drill or weld on your ROPS. It voids the certification. It's all kinds of bad juju. Don't do it. I don't think this machine technically requires a ROPS, because it falls outside of the narrow category of equipment that MSHA does require to have them. However, it's a big safety benefit on this kind of machine, because these are a little bit tippy. And Doc, I know you're probably watching this. I really appreciate your comments. You did tell me they're tippy, and yeah, they're tippy. You got to be careful on uneven surfaces. But we now have lights, backup alarm, proper parking brake, hour meter, instruments, electrical system is basically ready to go. So I'll have to buy a new horn, install that, which shouldn't take too long, and she'll be ready to go. I just decided to roll this in on that Young Buggy video because it's the same general nature of work. I'm in the back end of the EIMCO, and I wanted to show you all this because it's relatively uncommon that we open up the back of the machine to see the starter end, because it's a pain. This water scrubber weighs a lot. It's partially full. It weighs a lot even when it's empty, because that water's only about 70 pounds. It's a 10-gallon system. So we gotta unbolt this, unbolt that, remove the exhaust clamp where where the exhaust manifold is mated up to the scrubber, and then lever the thing open and lever it closed. That's what the mother of all pipe wrenches is for, is just a bar, because good luck bending a 48-inch pipe wrench. So come in here where that old headlamp was mounted. That is the old headlamp for reference. Somebody painted over it, so regardless of whether or not it was working, it was not usable, so it's getting replaced with a new LED like that one that I put on the buggy. We got our ground strap, so the scrubber end is grounded to the frame of the machine. So I'm just gonna ground into that divider and string my hot up through there. That light there is where I've removed the side of the instrument panel. Let me fly all over there. Just unbolts with a 9/16 and a machine screw, so that lets me access the back of the instrument panel. Following up on that dig performance test video, I dug in some run-of-mine ore that we got, not our clean fill, and the machine filled the bucket with nary a complaint. So it really seems like it's just that fill material. It's so dense, and there's no void in it, so the machine struggles, but when you put it in what it's designed to dig in, it does really good. Just to look at the whole back end of the machine. So in there's your hydraulic pump. Can't really see the control system. It's your high pressure filter. Your other hydraulic filters all up in there. That's a new one. It's covered in oil and dust because it's seen mine service. Then your hydraulic cooler. There you can see your push rods on the back side of your cylinder jugs. Your starter, alternator, air bath oil cleaner, aftermarket air scoop, and nameplate here. F4L 912W. Now that W is important because W is the difference between a direct injection tractor engine and an indirect injection underground engine. without that W, it's not EIMCO approved. So I will cut back in a moment when I've got this light installed and got the cable strung. Then I'll hook the battery back up. I've got it disconnected right now. This lockout tagout is, well, it's something you can live by. As you can see by the fact that it's dark outside, it was a little bit tougher than I had planned. I was unable to drill the scrubber housing for a ground strap, so I piggybacked off the ground for the horns. So the way I've got this wired up, and it's going to sound smart, but it's really because some additional or previous work made it difficult to have the taillight switched. Got it set up so that if the key is in the ignition switch but turned on or turned off, it will not have a taillight. But if it's turned on, you do have a taillight. So that's kind of cool. That ticking is the hour meter, which is hooked to the ignition switch, which I'm not crazily enamored with. But on both this Young Buggy or this 911 and the Young Buggy, it's a little bit challenging to hook up to the oil pressure gauge. On the Young Buggy, I need a nut that I do not have any of, and there is not any space because of where the steering valve is located. I have to get behind the steering valve to hook it up to the oil pressure sensor. And on the 911, the oil pressure gauge is up in the console, so I'd have to trace that all the way back and tap into it or something like that. So I'm just gonna live with how it is. That's a pretty decent little floodlight. Let me turn my cap lamp off. So that is what you get off of the machine's taillight. Got it aimed kind of down and towards the center line of the machine. But I am quite happy with that. So gonna call it for today. This has been 401119 with Headframe Hunters. Thank you all very much for watching, guys. Adios.